On foreign investment in China, we head to Singapore, where we're joined by our good friend Dane Chamorro, Managing Director of Control Risk Southeast Asia. Good to see you, Dane. Well, let me start with this. This issue with security and the cybersecurity and the protecting of investment IT companies, how big of a deal is that, and what are you telling your clients?
Well, it's big. It's just kind of emblematic of the change in environment that's taken place in China since Xi Jinping became, leader almost 2 years ago now. It's a much more regulated environment. It is more challenging for foreign companies, and China's more selective. Compared to 10, 15 years ago, China's not in need of capital as it was before. They still need technology. They still need high technology, which is one of the motivators, obviously, behind these new rulings. But having said that, this is not the first time that China has said, if you're bringing certain types of technology products into the country or running them in the country, you need to supply the keys, if you will, to those products. So it's something we've seen before. It is one of those challenges that business has to deal with, and the usurpation of foreign technology, has a long history in China, in modern China, as it has in every country that goes through the process of economic development. So it's just one of those added challenges to operating there. But it's still, broadly speaking, a very, very big and important market. It's the second largest economy in the world. It's still going to be growing at the Chinese will say about 7%. In reality, it's probably closer to 5%. But certain sectors obviously are growing much faster than that. And it's still an absolutely vital place for most international companies to do business.
Dane, let me try to get through one positive, one negative. Let's start with one of the big challenges that you had highlighted. The businesses, a lot of American businesses have said it's getting tougher and tougher to do business in China, and I suspect it's not just American firms that are saying the same thing. First of all, is it true? And what's going on? Why is this happening?
It is true, and you're right. It's not just American businesses. The European Chamber of Commerce in China was very critical last year about the new regulatory environment in China, and I think a lot of that is driven by the fact that foreign businesses see it as an unlevel playing field, that the regulatory environment has changed, but those regulations are not applied equally across foreign and Chinese businesses. They feel that foreign businesses have been singled out for some of the new regulatory changes. But if you look at it, Chinese businesses have also fallen afoul of the new regulatory environment. As everyone knows who's operated in China, if you fall afoul of regulator, if you have to go to a court, for example, it's not always a level playing field. But this is part of the bigger shift, if you will, of China under Xi Jinping, Li Keqiang, the new government, what they call the Xinjiang, right, the new normal in China, which they're talking about now at the NPC. And part of that is a more regulated environment. Part of that is also a shift in the economic model from this heavy capital investment model that they've been running for many, many years to one that's more driven by consumption. And therefore, China will become, the goal is for China to become, quote unquote, a more normal economy like the United States, like Western Europe, like many other countries in Asia, where private consumption makes up a much bigger share of the GDP as compared to state investment. So that's a process. It's going to take a good decade or more. It's painful, as any economy that goes through reform recognizes. So foreign companies operating in China are just going to have to be nimble and adapt as these changes work their way through the economy.
One of the discussions that has been talked about is changing the limits on foreign investments. Currently today, there are limits to how much foreign companies and which industry can invest in China. They're going to change that, and basically, I guess, half the number of industries that are currently restricted. I assume this is big news, and my question is, what industries are going to be most impacted by this? And I want to quickly get to, obviously, your answer as well on the 7% GDP growth on the new normal, if you think that's good news or bad news as well.
So I'll take them in reverse order. So the 7%, or what China claims is 7%, which is actually probably closer to 5%, that's inevitable. given China's development over the last couple of decades. There have only been 2 other countries in history that have grown at double digits for more than a decade or 2. One was Japan, one was Singapore, and the third has been China. So at a certain point, you hit a wall where you can't grow at double digits any longer, and that's what China has hit. So, but again, it's still $13, $14 billion GDP growing at 5%. That's quite healthy, and for a lot of businesses, foreign and Chinese, that is a market that you need to be part of. So that's that one. In terms of having the number of businesses that are restricted, so to speak, yes, China is winnowing down that list of restrictions, and that's also part of the program. And what they're going to be doing is obviously winnowing down in categories where they want foreign investment, and that's going to be toward the higher end of the sophisticated, sophistication spectrum, if you will. So, wages in your previous piece, wages in China have quadrupled in the last 10 years. It's not a cheap place to manufacture things anymore, simple things. So a lot of that manufacturing has gone offshore to Vietnam and Indonesia and other places, and China's moving up the curve. And so it's those areas, broadly speaking, and certainly technology is one of them, and services will be one of them, because the representation of services in Chinese GDP is quite low still by international standards. So those sectors are going to be some of the ones that will be more open to foreign participation, and that's a good thing overall for foreign business.
Yeah, it's hard to run faster when you're the giant elephant on the block. Dane Chamorro, good to see you again.